Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupa Sagrajata Sadhana Raghunatamidam Tam Sajivam Tadvaitam Savadurtam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sadhana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So you are welcome to this section. So quickly, who was here last week, Friday? Want to remind us what we did quickly. If you have your notes with you. Don't wait till no one is speaking. Just be the first, be enthusiastic, be the first to speak. Who's going to be the first person to break the ice? Don't feel shy, don't feel shy. No one wants to speak? No one has written anything down?
Yeah, probably I'll go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Noted few points like Krishna in 7.9 he says like he's the original fragrance, he's the aroma of the of everything.
Yes.
Whoever Krishna wants to kill, no one can protect him. Whoever Krishna wants to protect, no one can kill him. He's the penance of all the like austerities, like ascetics. In 7.10, we came to know like Krishna is the original seed of all the existence. Krishna is the taste of everything. Whatever is attracting, its original essence is also Krishna. Like sunshine, we came across with the purport like sunshine, moonshine. Even the taste of the wine, which attracts some people, it is the flavor is also the Krishna. Responsibility of the parents is to make their offspring Krishna conscious. Yeah, I have to know that.
Okay, someone else want to say something? Thank you.
Prabhu, I don't want to say something, but I have a question.
Okay.
From the previous class.
Okay, very good.
Yes, so basically you were telling about this Prabhu who married so many women. And
in my country.
Yeah, and then he brings his kids to Harinam Sankirtan.
Yeah, they have Harinam party.
Yeah, so I would just like to ask Prabhu, with regards to the Vedic injunctions, is it allowed to marry that much women?
Very nice question.
Thank you.
Actually, there's one thing about I was just trying to search for him. Maybe let me show you the Harinam party. There is no any injunction like that about how many one should marry in the scripture. But generally, nowadays, people have make one wife to be like a standard. Actually, the Christians, they are the one who have made it a standard. So everybody is buying to it. In those days, in the olden days, the forefathers, they used to marry many because of their farmers. So they have so many land to cultivate. So they have many wives assist them in cultivating the land. So that is one of the major reasons why they used to marry many wives in those days. You know, and apart from that, we can see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have many kings. Actually, those who marry many wives are those people who have means to take care of them. That is one of the major things in the past. And but the Christianity came and they make one man, one wife, like the standard of the whole world, and everybody is following it. That is why you see the Muslim, they don't follow that, because the prophet Muhammad, when he came, he saw that men are very promiscuous. They are having, you know, adultery, you know, fornication, something like that. So he gave injunction to them that instead of doing all these things with your sister, with your wife, with, you know, any woman, why can't you just, okay, you should marry as many as you can take care of, like that. So in the Muslim, it's like that. In the Christian, no. They stopped that in the Christian, because if you see, in those days, people like Abraham, they have more than one wife. But in the modern day Christian, they didn't encourage that. You see? So that has become a standard all over the world. So, and you see, because of that, ISKCON also is following that, because actually Prabhupada talk about it. He said, if you marry more than one wife, then you cannot be a leader in ISKCON, as in a spiritual organization. Means that if you marry more than one wife, means you cannot control your senses, so you cannot be a leader. You cannot be a leader. You know, you cannot lead the organization. But Prabhupada did not condemn it. You understand? But that is what he mentioned. He said, if somebody can marry more than one wife, he cannot be a leader, example, in the organization. You understand? So that is why this Prabhu, because he came from the Muslim background, because he came from, so that mentality is is still in him, you know. So, and he continued this same system in ISKCON, which is very good, which he thinks is good for his own spiritual life. You see? But there's no particular place where it is condemned in the scripture. There is nowhere where Krishna has said that this is the parameter for judging purity. You understand? But the modern world is not encouraged. You get my point? It's a very sensitive topic also. Yeah, because so that you will not look at Prabhu can say like this. So, but actually, it's, if you see many kings, even pure devotee kings, many of them, you know, apart from Lord Ramachandra, many of them, many kings, they have many wives. And you still see their dealings with Krishna also. Krishna still, you know, relate with them. Many kings, because they have the means to take care of them also. So there's no particular place that is mentioned in the scripture that is condemned, that is will be the parameter for God judging you. And the most important thing is that it is mentioned in the scripture that you should not be a father, a husband, or a leader if you cannot liberate your dependents. That is what is mentioned in the scripture. So, as a devotee, we have to follow the scriptural injunctions, and according to the scripture, it is mentioned we should control our senses. So, if you learn, because whether you have 1 or 100, if you don't control your senses, you cannot attain Krishna. Yes, sense control is the only means to attain Krishna. Mind control, sense control, like that. But there's no place where it's mentioned about, talk about how many you should get or how many, whether it's one or there's nowhere it's particularly mentioned like that. But generally, the kings, they don't follow these injunctions. Even Arjuna, he married more than one, Bhima more than one. Only Yudhishthira is like maybe only one like that. And you know, even sometimes you see Krishna and Arjuna, they are joking, they are sitting and joking about girls. One time, Krishna and Arjuna, they went to the seaside, and Kalindi came, and Krishna was telling Arjuna, "Oh, see that beautiful girl, go for her," you know. And Arjuna said, "No, Krishna, you should go. No, I already have to, like." So they were joking like that. See. So in the scripture, kings, they are allowed to have more than one because the king generally, they are very powerful, they're very strong, and they have so many subjects who want to take shelter under them and all those things. So depending on the king, disposition of the king, determine how many he wants to marry. So, but generally, the Brahmanas, they only have one. Generally, Brahmanas. So if you want to live a Brahmanical life, it's only one. Only the Vaishyas and the Kshatriyas generally go beyond this. But the Brahmanas, generally, they are only one, generally. You read all the scripture, Brahmana is only one. Because the Brahmana, they learn to the science, the principle of a Brahmana is self-control. Are you getting my point, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So Brahmanas, they are very strict in this. But Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, I don't think so, generally. So people want to live a Brahmanical life, you have to be very strict on that. Okay, so let's continue to the any comment regarding somebody want to talk about what we discussed last week, something mentioned quickly. 2 minutes, you have 2 minutes more. No comments. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so since you are not saying anything, I will just think that you already understood what we discussed last week. You just don't want to say anything. Or maybe none of you took notes. It's all right. So we talk about the three modes of material nature being Tribute Gunai Babai Ebi Sarvam Idam Jaga. Krishna mentioned that, like we mentioned, Krishna explained how he pervades everywhere, But he now mentioned in verse 13 of 7, that due to his three modes of material nature, people cannot perceive him. They cannot conceive, they cannot see his pervasiveness. How is everywhere. People are asking, where is God? Where is God? It's everywhere. It's in the taste of water. It's like Mother Nyarika just took water now. Water quenches our thirst. It's in the taste of water. It's in the light of the sun and the moon. It's the reflection of the light we have in our room also. It is Krishna described the ability in man. I discussed about these things on Saturday program. So in this way, Krishna pervades everywhere. But he say, because we are covered by the three modes of material nature, we cannot see him. So in text 14, he continued the description again. So we are going to read text 14. Okay. Are you with me? Yes. Yeah. Text 14 is a very, very important verse we should memorize. I told you the other day. Devi Esha Guna Mai Mama Maya Duratiya. Mami Baye Papa Diante Maya Metam Tarantite. So Krishna says, the divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered to me can easily cross beyond it. Somebody want to read the purport?
Prabhu, we've read this last time.
I want us to start from here. I want us to start from here again.
Okay, I'll read.
Yes, please go ahead. There's some point I want to mention here.
Okay, purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior energy power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nichabada, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the Supreme Will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows: Mayam tu prakritim vidyanmayanam tu maheshwaram. Although Maya, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.10. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna, or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Mameva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajaguna, passion, and Tamaguna, ignorance, to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.8, confirm this in the phrase Tameva Viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti pradata sarvasham Vishnur evanasham seha. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I said, let me pick up this point again because it's very, very important. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur explained very nicely about this particular chapter verse we are discussing. And he mentions about the energy of the Lord, Devi Esha Gunamayi. So here the word Devi, which Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned, that means Deva, means one who sport by enjoyment. Because one of the most important things, or one of the most common thing about the Devas is about their sense gratification, enjoyment in the heavenly planet. So because the living entity, the word Jiva, which means the living entity, So Bhakti Thakur explains that Daiva means the living entity who wants to enjoy separate from God. Daiva Isha Gunama Yi, the living entity who wants to enjoy separated from God, separate from God. They come under the Gunamayi, the energy of Krishna in the form of the three modes of material nature. Guna means rope. So whatever we are doing in this material world is controlled by these three modes of material nature. And it is very nicely explained. The living entity, they are like ants who produce what do you call it? Cotton. What do you call that ant who produce cotton?
Silkworm? Wait, cotton?
Silkworm. Silkworm, yes. The silkworm, it produces silk, and in producing that silk, it become bound inside that silk, and it cannot escape. Even she cannot escape herself. She cannot escape. You see. So the same thing when we are trying to manipulate the material nature for our own sense gratification, the guna, this three rope of material nature, bind us. It becomes so complicated. We become bound by these ropes that we cannot even untie ourselves again. You see, we cannot untie ourselves. We become bound and we cannot untie ourselves. So this is the nature of the living entity. And Krishna says, because this is my energy, Mama Maya, this energy is my energy, you cannot manipulate it. Because the energy of Krishna is very, very attractive. Very attractive. So we are thinking, no, I can control it. I can manipulate it. Krishna said, no, you become bound by this energy. You cannot escape it. So it's very difficult. Okay, Shila explained very nicely, in this way. So it is difficult it's almost impossible. It is impossible for anyone to untie or cut it. This rope is impossible. But Krishna now give us kind of assurance. He said, but there's assurance. What is that assurance? He said, if you surrender unto me, that is the only way. If you surrender unto me, then you can cross Tarantite. So trying to exploit or to enjoy or to gratify our senses or to exploit material nature will become bound by the energy of Krishna. There's nothing like I'm very expert. No. This energy is very, very intricate. We cannot escape it. So in that way, Krishna now mentioned in the next verse, which we are going to read now, those who enter into this enjoyment spirit, some of them become inimical to Krishna. They don't want to surrender to Krishna. Because they think, oh, by my intelligence, I can overcome it. I will not surrender to Krishna. So Krishna described these four kinds of people. So we are going to read about that in the next verse. There's let me plug my computer. Sorry. Okay. Are we there? Nama Duskitino Muda. Papa Diante Naradama. Mayaya Parita Gyana. Asura Baba Mashrita. Okay? So Krishna says, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender. So Krishna says, only those who surrender to me can overcome this. But there are four kinds of people who think that they are very smart. No, I will not surrender to Krishna. You see? So Krishna now describes these four kinds of people here. Okay? So let's read the purpose, then we will now explain furthermore.
It is said in Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering oneself unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality.
Your voice is very low.
Is my voice very low? Okay, 1 second.
Now it's better.
Better? Okay. Okay, it is said in Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering oneself into the lotus feet of Supreme Personality Krishna, one can surmount the stringent laws of material nature. At this point, a question arises. How is it that educated philosophers, scientists, businessmen, administrators, and all leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the all-power personality of Godhead? Mukti, or liberation from the laws of material nature, is sought by the leaders of mankind in different ways and with great plans and perseverance for a great many years and births. But if the liberation is possible by simply surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why don't these intelligent and hardworking leaders adopt this simple method? The Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of the society like Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, and the Kumaras, Manu, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Janaka, Prahlad, Bali, and later on Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya, and many others, who are faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, scientists, etc., surrender to the lotus feet of the Supreme Person, the all-powerful authority. Those who are not actually philosophers, scientists, educators, administrators, etc., but who pose themselves as such for material gain do not accept the plan or path of the Supreme Lord. They have no idea of God. They simply manufacture their own worldly plans and consequently complicate the problems of material existence in their vain attempts to solve them. Because material energy, nature, is so powerful, it can resist the unauthorized plans of the atheist and baffle the knowledge of planning commissions. The atheistic plan makers are described herein by words dushkritanaha, or miscreants. Kriti means one who has performed meritorious work. The atheist plan maker is sometimes very intelligent and meritorious also, because any gigantic plan, good or bad, must take intelligence to execute. But because the atheist brain is improperly utilized in opposing the plan of the Supreme Lord, the atheistic plan maker is called Dushkriti, which indicates that his intelligence and efforts are misdirected. In the Gita, it is clearly mentioned that material energy works fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It has no independent authority. It works as the shadow moves in accordance with the movements of the object. But still, material energy is very powerful, and the atheist, due to his godless temperament, cannot know how it works, nor can he know the plan of the Supreme Lord. Under illusion, the modes of passion and ignorance, all his plans are baffled, as in the case of Hiranyakashipu and Ravana, whose plans are smashed to dust, although they were both materially learned as scientists, philosophers, administrators, and educators. Those Duskritanas, or miscreants, are of 4 different patterns, as outlined below.
So sorry,
Go
Mataji.
on.
So when you read one, I will talk. Then it was one by one. We take them like that. One,
Okay,
two, like that.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, 1. The mudas are those who are grossly foolish, like hardworking beasts of burden. They want to enjoy the fruits of their labor by themselves, and so do not want to part with them for the Supreme. The typical example of the beast of burden is the ass. This humble beast is made to work very hard by his master. The ass does not really know for whom he works so hard day and night. He remains satisfied by filling his stomach with a bundle of grass, sleeping for a while under fear of being beaten by his master, and satisfying his sex appetite at risk of being repeatedly kicked by the opposite party. The ass sings poetry and philosophy sometimes, but this braying sound only disturbs others. This is the position of the foolish fruitive worker who does not know for whom he should work. He does not know that karma, action, is meant for yajna, sacrifice. Most often, those who work very hard day and night to clear the burden of self-created duties say that they have no time to hear of immortality of the living being. The mudas, material gains, which are destructible, are life's all in all, despite the fact that the mudas enjoy only very small fraction of the fruit of labor. Sometimes they spend sleepless days and nights for fruitive gain, and although they may have ulcers or indigestion, they are satisfied with practically no food. They are simply absorbed in working hard day and night for the benefit of illusory ignorant of the real master. The foolish workers waste their valuable time serving Mammon. Unfortunately, they never surrender to the supreme master of all masters, nor do they take time to hear of him from the proper sources. The swine who eat the night soil do not care to accept sweetmeats made of sugar and ghee. Similarly, the foolish worker who entirely continue to hear the sense enjoyable tidings of flickering mundane world, but will have very little time to hear about the eternal living force that moves the material world.
So yeah, Krishna started describing the 4 kinds of people who do not surrender. Number 1, the fruitive workers, those who work very hard, who believe in karma mimamsa. Krishna is talking about those who believe in karma mimamsa, yeah. People who believe that only if you work, then you can be successful in this world. If you don't work, you cannot be successful. So they believe only in their work. They don't believe in God. So they work day and night. You know, they believe if you don't work, even though there's God there, if you don't work, you don't get food. You see? So if you don't work, you don't get food. Even though there's God there, if you don't do anything, you don't get food. So if you work, depending on how much you work, that's how you get money in this world. So these people, that is their philosophy. So they are working very hard, day and night, like Prabhupada described very nicely in the purport. They work day and night. They don't sleep. Some of them sleep very little. They are working very hard because they believe that only by their work they can make it. Some of them make it because they have this philosophy which works for them. But at the end of the day, you will lose everything. And because you don't surrender to God, you know, you will not be, they are not happy. You will never be happy if you don't surrender to God. Because actually, karma mimamsa work to some extent. See, like I said before, let me explain something in a very wider point of view to you, so that I don't like people sitting in my class being short-sighted or myopic. Okay, so it's like this. This universe is controlled and owned by Krishna. Everything in this universe is run under the supervision of Krishna, directly or indirectly. I gave a very nice example the other time. I don't know why nobody reminded me of that example I gave, but it's okay, we'll forget it. We'll continue. You see, so I gave a very nice example the other time. You see, I say the president of a country directly and or indirectly controls all the affairs of the country. Isn't it? You remember that example? Yes. Oh, no one reminded me. Okay, it's all right. Let's continue. So whether we directly or indirectly is controlling all the action of the country. But does it directly control all the action of the country? No. You understand? I don't know if you are getting my point. Are you getting my point? I'm speaking out of the box now. Directly or indirectly is controlling all the activities of the country. But does it directly involve in all the activity of the country? No. How does it control it? By the policies they are put in the country. Okay? So similarly also, there is a law that is governing this universe that Krishna has put in place. You see? So that laws, it works whether you believe in Krishna or you don't believe in Krishna. You see? It still works. Because it's Krishna who has put in the laws in place. I don't know, maybe you're getting my point. So some people who knows how to manipulate, some people who know how to manipulate this law, they still get their way even though they don't believe in God. I don't know, maybe you're getting the point. Are you getting my point?
We get you, Prabhu.
Yes. Let me give an example. Ravan or Hiranyakashipu, they don't believe in Krishna. They still perform austerity and get power to control the world. Are you getting my point? And they perform austerity to get power, to even they are thinking about to kill Krishna. You see? But because they are following the laws of the universe, who have been placed by God that if you do this, you will get this. So they do something to a particular deity and they get the result. So directly or indirectly, Krishna mentioned Bhagavad Gita, even if whatever the demigods is giving to their servants, I'm the one giving them. Directly on it. So what I'm trying to say is that those people who don't surrender to Krishna, they work very hard. They don't believe. Even though they don't believe in God, still some of them, you see them, sometimes they become successful because they know how to follow the laws and manipulate the law. And some of them, they get their desire fulfilled. But the only thing that is there is that because they don't surrender to Krishna, they will glide down and down to hellish life, which is suffering. So it means that the more they are far from God, the more they continue to suffer in the material energy. They will become bound by the complication of the energy of Krishna because they are not surrendering to Krishna. Even though sometimes when they come to human body, they get their desire fulfilled, but then they will glide down to animalistic life again. Then again, when they're able to come, they start coming through evolution again, they come to human being, they don't surrender again, they glide. So millions and millions of years, they continue to remain on this planet. There's without no hope for them to escape. So in this way, they become bound by this complexity of energy of Krishna. So these people, they are called the Druskitina, who walk like ass. Prabhupada call them ass. Why did Prabhupada call them ass? Muda. Muda means ass. Why did they call them like Muda? They call them Muda ass because a ass is a symbol of foolishness, stupidity. A ass will work all day and night just for the ass to get the grass that the master is going to give to him. The ass is so stupid, he cannot see that there's grasses everywhere, that he doesn't need to work day and night for him to go and get the grass on the field. You see, that is why they are called mudas. You see, so it's like that. So those who don't surrender to Krishna, who just believe in walking, they are considered to be ass. And at the end of the day, if they don't surrender to Krishna, they glide down to hellish life. Okay? So now Krishna is going to describe the second type of Naradama, which is the second class of Duskritina, which is very, very important for us to take notes. Let us take notes. Continue, Prabhupada.
Okay, Prabhu. Number 2, another class of Duskriti or miscreant is called the Naradama, or the lowest of mankind. Nara means human, and Adama means the lowest. Out of the 8,400,000 different species of living beings, there are 400,000 human species. Out of these, there are numerous lower forms of human life that are mostly uncivilized. The civilized human beings are those who have regulative principles of social, political, and religious life. Those who are socially and politically developed, but who have no religious principles, must be considered naradamas, nor is religion without God religion, because the purpose of following religious principles is to know the supreme truth and man's religion with him. In the Gita, the personality of Godhead clearly states that there is no authority above him and that he is the supreme truth. The civilized form of human life is meant for man's reviving the lost consciousness of his eternal relation with the supreme truth. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who is all-powerful, whoever loses this chance is classified as Naradama. We get information from revealed scriptures that when the baby is in the mother's womb, an extremely uncomfortable situation, he prays to God for deliverance and promises to worship him alone as soon as he gets out. To pray to God when he is in difficulty is a natural instinct in every living being because he is eternally related with God. But after his deliverance, the child forgets the difficulties of birth and forgets his deliverer also, being influenced by Maya, the illusory energy. It is the duty of the guardians of the children to revive the divine consciousness dormant in them. The 10 processes of reformatory ceremonies as enjoined in the Manusmriti, which is the guide of true religious principles, are meant for reviving the God consciousness in the system of Varnashrama. However, no process is strictly followed now in any part of the world, and therefore 99.9% of the population is Naradama. When the whole population becomes Naradama, naturally all their so-called education is made null and void by the all-powerful energy of physical nature. According to the standard of the Gita, a learned man is he who sees on equal terms the learned Brahmana, the dog, the cow, the elephant, and the dog-eater. That is the vision of the true devotee. Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the incarnation of Godhead, is divine master, delivered the typical Naradamas, those brothers Jagai and Madai, and showed how the mercy of a real devotee is bestowed upon the lowest of mankind. So the Naradamas, the Naradama, who is condemned by the personality of Godhead, can again revive his spiritual consciousness only by the mercy of a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in propagating the Bhagavata Dharma, or activities of devotees, has recommended that people submissively hear the message of the personality of Godhead. The essence of this message is Bhagavad Gita. The lowest amongst men, human beings, can be delivered by this submissive hearing process only. But unfortunately, they even refuse to give an oral reception to those messages, and what to speak of surrendering to the will of the Supreme Lord. Naradamas, or the lowest of mankind, willfully neglect the prime duty of the human being.
So, Srila Vishwanatha Chakrabarti has explained very nicely, Prabhupada mentioned also in the middle of the second, number 2. Actually, the Naradama is referred to those devotees who have taken the path of devotional service and gave it up, thinking that they cannot achieve their goal of life by practicing devotional service. So those people are called the lowest of mankind. Just imagine one who has come to this part of devotional service and give it up. So here, Vishwanatha Chakrabarti has explained that those people, they are the Naradama, because there's no means for them to be delivered. Because why? They have come to the part of devotional service and they gave it up. And that is why, as a devotee, we have to be very, very careful that on the part of devotional service, we should be very careful that there is no desire that will take us away from Krishna. Because sometimes when we come to Krishna consciousness and we don't get our desire fulfilled, we may give up devotional service. So we have to be very, very careful about our desires. You see, if somehow or the other we have a desire that is not getting fulfilled or is not fulfilled, we have to ask, okay, maybe it's the will of Krishna. That is why it's not getting fulfilled. But if you hold on to your desire so strongly and you are not letting go, and somehow or the other you give up devotional service because of that, saying, oh, it's not working for me, then we are considered to be Naradama, the lowest of mankind. That is why it is advisable that devotees should be desireless. We should be desireless. Because desire is what has taken us away from Krishna. Okay? So if we want to always remain in devotional service for the rest of our life, then we should try to engage in devotional service without no desire. Sometimes there is desires for the normal way of life. It's okay, but not desire that is very difficult to overcome. This is one of the 6 principles of nectar of devotion. Who can remind us? Mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami. Yes, Mother Angel. Yes, tell us.
Prabhu, is that Yuthanitya, the story?
No, the other one, the one before that.
The Atyara?
Yes, Atyara Prayasas Cha.
The Atyara Prayasatcha, Rajal Punya Magaha, Jana Sangat Salalyamsa, Sadbur Bhaktar Vinasati.
Yes.
From the top, Prabhu. From the top, I memorize it.
Yes, it is mentioned in the translation. Let me help you. The translation means Atyara, overeating, endeavoring, Prayasas, over endeavoring for something that is very difficult to obtain. You see, Srila Rupa Goswami mentioned in the Nectar of the Instruction like that. See, if you are endeavoring or you are desiring for something that is difficult to obtain, this can ruin your devotional service. Sadi Bhakti, Vinashyati. Overeating over endeavoring for what is difficult to obtain, and what again?
Talking
Talking unnecessarily, prajapa, materialistic. These things can destroy your devotional service, can make you give up the part of devotional. So that's why those things are mentioned in our book, so that we can be careful, so that we don't, after coming to this part of devotional service, which is the highest, then we give it up. If we come to this part and we give it up, we are called Naradama, the lowest of mankind. So that is what Prabhupada explained in the purport, and Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti again explained very nicely in his own book also, the commentary to this particular verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we should try as much as possible to avoid over-endeavoring for things that are very difficult to obtain when we engage in our devotional service. We should be very careful. Oh, you are earning 20,000 pesos or 30,000 pesos in a month. And I want to buy Ferrari by 2026. How is it even possible? How are you going to do that? You want to go and steal? You want to go and rob a bank? That is prayasa, endeavoring for what is difficult to obtain. Then because of that, you now pray, Krishna, please fulfill my desire. I want to get Ferrari by 2026. How are you going to do that? You are going to ruin your spiritual life. You see, there's one principle today I was just meditating on this principle. As I was going, I was speaking to myself on the road. As I was today, I was walking on the road. So I was speaking to myself. I say, if you cannot conceive it, you cannot achieve it. If you cannot conceive it, you cannot achieve it. It's very simple. Okay, whatever you cannot conceive in your mind, you cannot achieve it. It's very simple. It's just like a student who is studying for exam. If you cannot remember, forget it. In the exam, you will not remember. If you cannot remember it while you are studying, and you think miracle is going to happen when you are in the exam, no. Only if you can conceive it, then you can achieve it. You can remember it. Let me explain it this way. Some people, they say, oh, I want to become the most famous person in the universe. And in their mind, they can see it, how they can be, how they are going to do. Then they will achieve it. Their desire will come to pass. That is the meaning of, if you cannot conceive it, you cannot achieve it. You see? There are some people, they say, I want to become the most richest person. How? You cannot even think about it. You cannot conceive it. You cannot think of how you are going to do it. Then how are you going to do it? You have not been able to conceive it. You cannot achieve it. You understand? So we have to be very, very careful of our desires, so that it will not make us to become Naradama, lowest among mankind. Then those that become serious in devotional service, and later they give it up and give up the surrendering to Krishna. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti explained it that way. So let's continue to read the remaining ones so that we can finish this today. Yes, continue, Mata.
Okay. Number 3, the next class of Dushkriti is called Mayaya Paritagyanaha, or those persons whose influence of illusory material energy. They are mostly very learned fellows, great philosophers, poets, literati, scientists, etc. But the illusory energy misguides them, and therefore they disobey the Supreme Lord. There are a great number of Mayaya Paritagyanaha at the present moment, even amongst the scholars of the Bhagavad Gita. In the Gita, in plain and simple language, it is stated that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is none equal to or greater than him. He is mentioned as the father of Brahma, the original father of all human beings. In fact, Sri Krishna is said to be not only the father of Brahma, but also the father of all species of life. He is the root of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma, the super soul in every entity in his plenary portion. He is the fountain head of everything, and everyone is advised to surrender unto his lotus feet. Despite all these clear statements, the Mayaya Paritagyanaha deride the personality of Supreme Lord and consider him merely another human being. They do not know that the blessed form of human life is designed after the eternal and transcendental feature of the Supreme Lord. All the unauthorized interpretations of the Gita by the class of Mayaya Paritagyanaha outside the purview of the Parampara system are so many stumbling blocks on the path of spiritual understanding. The deluded interpreters do not surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, nor do they teach others to follow this principle.
So Shila, just like Prabhupada explained also, the Maya Paritagyan, one that their knowledge has been stolen by Maya Paritagyan. They have knowledge, they are knowledgeable, but the knowledge has been stolen by Maya. That is why they are called Maya Paritagyan. You see? So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti give a very nice example. You know, they believe in Lord Narayan, but they don't believe in Krishna. Who is that a good example of that? Jarasandha. Jarasandha worship Lord Narayan, but he wants to kill Krishna. You see, and that is why eventually it was destroyed. Actually, Jarasandha was a very learned scholar, He was a devotee of Narayan. He worshipped Lord Narayan very perfectly, but he doesn't believe in Krishna. You see, he derived Krishna. He doesn't believe in, So there's so many people also in this material world. The scientists and Prabhupada mentioned all of them. They are very, very knowledgeable, very intelligent. When you see them speaking, you marvel, but they don't believe in God. They don't even want to hear about God. They don't want to surrender to Him. You see? So these people, they are categories of Maya Parita Gyan. They have knowledge, but their knowledge has been stolen by Maya, by illusion. Their knowledge has been stolen by Maya, by illusion. So because of this, they will never surrender to Krishna. They deride Krishna. When they see Krishna, they deride him. They don't want to surrender. There are some that trying about 17 times. So it will come to Krishna. Krishna will kill him. We kill all his soldiers and we let him go. He will go again and gather more soldiers. They will come. It was coming like that for 17 times. Is how many times they finally came before Krishna ran away from him, left him. He went and built a Dwaraka city. Many times Yarasandha again and again will come back to Krishna. But he was a worshipper of Lord Vishnu, of Narayan. You see? And that is why at the end, Krishna made Bhima to kill him. See? So some people, they are very, very knowledgeable, very intelligent, but their knowledge has been stolen by Maya. So because of that, they will never, never surrender to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. Then there is the final one. So let's continue. Number 4.
The last class of Dushkriti is called Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha, or those of demonic principles. This class is openly atheistic. Some of them argue that the Supreme Lord can never descend upon this material world, but they are unable to give any tangible reasons as to why not. There are others who make him subordinate to the impersonal feature, although the opposite is declared in the Gita. Envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the atheist will present a number of illicit incarnations manufactured in the factory of his brain. Such persons, whose very principle of life is to decry the personality of Godhead, cannot surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Sri Yamunacharya Alabandaru of South India said, "O my Lord, you are unknowable to persons involved with atheistic principles, despite your uncommon qualities, features, and activities, despite your personalities being confirmed by all the revealed scriptures in the quality of goodness, and despite your being acknowledged by famous, authorized, renowned for the depth of knowledge in the transcendental science, and situated in the godly qualities. Therefore, 1. Grossly foolish persons, 2. Lowest of the mankind, 3. Deluded speculators, and 4. The professional atheists, as above mentioned, never surrendered unto the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, in spite of all scriptural and authoritative advice.
So these 4 classes of men, they will never surrender to God. And we can find them in this material world. They're all there. And we see them every day also. Asura Baba, some people, there's some group of people, they don't even believe that God can come to this world. Proper mention, they cannot even give tangible reason. They cannot give tangible reason why God cannot come to his creation. So, because they are demons, they want to take the position of God. You see? So they don't believe. So these 4 classes of men, they will never surrender to Krishna. So Krishna is mentioning here, unless we surrender to him, we cannot cross beyond this illusion. But now, first of all, Krishna mentioned 4 kinds of people who will never surrender to him. So in the next verse, Krishna is going to describe the 4 types who are going to surrender to him. So tomorrow, we will discuss about that. And tomorrow is Tuesday. We will talk for 30 minutes because we are back to our normal routine. So we have class tomorrow. There's no public holiday tomorrow, but maybe it will be short. Okay? Hare Krishna. Any comment, question for 3 minutes? Ryan Papu, you want to ask a question? Your hand is stretching.
No, Prabhu. I just want to.
Okay.
Maybe there is because we have a new listening.
Oh, you have a new student. Oh, Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Maybe I am thinking if you have a question.
Again,
Yeah. Yeah, it's all right.
Prabhu Kavi, according to the, part of Bhagavad Gita that you read a while ago.
Yes.
it is
Please
mentioned
give him like the phone to be close to his mouth so that I can hear him clearly.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It is mentioned that Shiva and Brahma are affected by Maya.
Okay. Yes. I'm hearing you, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Yes. So they are gods. So why are they? Even they are affected by Maya.
Oh, that is proper statement. Yes, because only Krishna is above this material energy, the illusory energy of Krishna. You see, Lord Brahma, when he was creating, he became enamored, became captivated by the beauty of his own daughter. You see, that is a very good example. He has to give up that body, the mentality. Then again, when Lord Shiva heard about the greatness of the Mohini Murti or form of Lord Krishna, he went to Lord Krishna. He said, Krishna, I heard about the greatness of your Mohini Murti. Very beautiful. Can I see that beautiful form? Krishna told him, will you be able to hold yourself when you see this, my beautiful form? He said, oh, my Lord, why not? I just want to see that your form. I heard the glories. Okay, Krishna said, okay, are you sure you will be able to hold yourself? He said, no problem. Let me see, my Lord. So immediately, Lord Krishna, the Lord disappeared, and a very beautiful, nice lady come out. And when they describe the beauty of a woman in the scripture, they will have a big chest and a thin waist and a big bust. You know, that beautiful, you know, like in Nigeria, we call it figure 8. You know 8? You know how 8 is? That is how a beautiful woman is described in the scripture. The chest is full, the down is full, it's like 8. So the scripture describe this beauty of a Mohini Murti like that. So describe the beauty of a Mohini Murti. So Lord Shiva, when he saw, oh, so beautiful. Lord Shiva forgot that Parvati was by his side. He started following the Mohini Murti. Because the Mohini Murti was playing ball. He was playing ball, you know, and he was following the Mohini Murti. And Lord Shiva started dropping semen on the floor. You see? You got? So that is why Srila Prabhupada mentioned that even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma cannot, overcome this illusory energy of Krishna. Because this illusory energy of Krishna is beyond everyone. Okay? You understand? Even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they cannot. So only Krishna is beyond this illusion. You see? That is why Krishna is transcendental, is the supreme. You understand? So that is what Prabhupada mentioned. Yes, it's true. But this great personality, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they are not on the same level with us. We have to always understand this. So this example in the scripture is just showing how powerful the illusory energy of Krishna is. That we in the living entity, we have to be very, very careful. Even if great personality like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma can be enamored by this energy, how much more of us? What can we do? You understand? So that is the example. So it shows that we have to be very, very careful. So we have to surrender to Krishna. That is the only remedy. Okay, Prabhuji.
All right.
Are you okay with that answer? What's your name again? I forgot your name. Your name escaped my mind. What is Prabhuji's name?
Mansur. Mansur.
Mansur.
Mansur Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah, Mansur. Are you okay, Mansur Prabhu?
Just paying obeisances.
Okay.
I just bowed. Pardon, Prabhu Kavi. Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you. Any other comments or contribution? Madam Mishika. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's stop. Thank you very much, everyone. So we continue tomorrow from where we stop. Vanchaka Patarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. La Prabhupada ki jai.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.